Please welcome to the stage the moderator of our next panel, Kaio Philipe, co-founder and COO of Bloomberg Linea, along with Juan Pablo Mata, CEO of Grupo Mariposa, and 2023 Bravo Visionary Business Leader of the Year, Luis Miguel Castillo, Chairman of Grupo Mariposa, who will offer insight into the impressive trajectory and growth of Guatemalan food and beverage conglomerate, Grupo Mariposa.
Wow, great event. Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. It's very good to be here. I think it's great to see the council doing these events more and more in Miami. Every year it gets better. I dare to say that this is kind of the Davos of the Latino world, and I'm very happy to be here with you. I'm Kaio, and I'm here with the one of the largest conglomerates of food and beverage in Latin America. Grupo Mariposa, Chairman Luis Miguel.
Hello,
and
how are you?
Juan Pablo, the CEO. How are you?
Very good. Happy
Good?
to be
Feeling
here.
good?
Yes.
Feeling the Miami heat?
Yeah.
Great. Grupo Mariposa, as I said, is one of the largest conglomerates of food and beverage in Latin America. Those two entrepreneurs, I called them entrepreneurs backstage, and they were like, well, yeah, it makes sense. It's a company that has been in the market for 130 years, 130 años. I could count with my right hand how many companies in Latin America have been doing successfully as you guys have done over the last 130 years. So it's really outstanding, and congrats, Luis Miguel, for your award. It's amazing as well to be recognized by the council. And Grupo Mariposa is a company that generates $3.5 billion in annual sales. They have 16,000 employees. They are generating wealth across the region. They're present in 20 markets in the Americas, the US included. And it looks like you've been very busy over the last 130 years. So let's talk about that. Luis Miguel, you as the chairman, can you briefly, because it could be a movie, right? I mean, it should be a movie one day, by the way, a book. How did you get from point A, 130 years ago, being the fifth generation of leadership, to today? How the group has evolved in that journey?
Yeah. Like you said, 130 years, and I can say that the first 100 years, we really enjoy of being in Guatemala. The tariffs were high, the borders were closed. So actually, we were doing very well. We were enjoying the creativity of the founder of putting together a great business. We teamed up with PepsiCo 80 some years ago. We're the oldest PepsiCo franchise in the world. So we had the franchise, we had the brand, but that changed in the 80s, 90s. First, the family started to lose it in a way. We were managing the business very family-oriented. The word meritocracy was not something that we understood. So while that was happening, also the rules of the game changed. Borders started to come down, tariffs started to come down. We started to compete with the big global players. During those years, Coca-Cola was doing a very big push throughout Latin America. So eventually, the company and the family went into a crisis. So there was a change of control. One of the family branches bought control of the company, and that's when we started to professionalize the company, and we fixed the business eventually in a couple of years, and the family was fixed automatically because the business was performing well. So after that, PepsiCo approached us and said, why don't we do the same thing you guys just did in Guatemala with the rest of the countries initially in Central America? And that's what we did. I did for 20 years and was going to first Central American countries, go with the families. We will bring the capital and the knowledge. We would like them to stay as local partners to deal with the local issues, and that's how we grew. We learned it the hard way how to become a multinational company. We made all the mistakes in the beginning, but then we started to learn how to be effective when you go outside your borders. So we did first Central America, and then in 2000 we made a strategic stop, and we did two things. One was to really become a world-class operation. Before that, we were kind of, depends on how good the manager was, that was how good we performed. So we decided to learn how multinational companies work. So we spent it till now, I think, over $100 million in consultants to really have process the way they should be. We run the companies the same in all of the countries. So that really paid off. I think today that's mainly our biggest competitive advantage, all the knowledge we have in a central office called Apex. And the second thing we did is we became a full beverage company. During those days, we were doing pretty much soft drinks, and we had a problem of scale against Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was dropping more cases per point of sale, so we needed to have the same scale as they did in order to compete. So we introduced all categories: beer, juices, isotonics, teas, and we do pretty much everything but white milk. And that really paid off. Today, we compete head-to-head with Coca-Cola. We drop the same amount of cases at the point of sale. They are very focused on the Coca-Cola brand, and we have a very big portfolio. And something that was a necessity for us became now a main competitive advantage. So after fixing that, we continued to grow with Pepsi in the Caribbean. Then we went to South America, Ecuador, Peru, and it really worked. I think the last integration we did in the Pepsi system was Peru, and we're doing very well. Every time we do it better. When we go into a market, we like to fix the company from the doors in for the first 2 years, instead of trying to push the market. We want to do the things the way we do it elsewhere. And so that was 2015, and 2016, we were seeing that the business, the opportunity of growing the Pepsi business was not as big. We consolidated 9 markets, right. And then the rest of the franchises were in strong hands. So we were a company set to grow. That's on our DNA. So we decided, as we did in 2000, to become a full beverage company. We decided to become a food and beverage company.
Right.
So we decided to go and do coffee. We like the coffee category very much, and culinary products.
Well, it's a movie, right? Like you started in Guatemala 130 years ago. There are a lot of family, disputes, whatever. You almost broke the business. As you said, you spent $100 million with consultants. I bet BCG would love to hear about that. But changing gears to you, Juan Pablo, you are in the 5th generation of leadership as a CEO. I bet problems the company or the challenge the company has now are totally different than 56 years ago. Can you walk us through some of the things that you face in your day by day that are, that you have to tell Luis Miguel, hey, wait a second, let me handle this. I know how to do this.
Well, first of all, thank you, and thanks to the Council of the Americas. We are honored to be here and have the opportunity to share about our journey. As Luis Miguel mentioned, it's been an amazing journey, and what we say right now at Grupo Mariposa is that we are on halftime. And what do we mean by that? Looking in the past, as Luis Miguel mentioned, we globalized. That globalization gave us access to capital, helped us to develop strong partners, and with that we put in place a strong governance, and with the governments we start growing to where we are right now.
Right.
And if we were to select the 3 enablers of our journey, one is, as Luis Miguel mentioned, a growth mindset. We are entrepreneurs, and we strongly believe that Latin America is full of entrepreneurs that can really take Latin America globally. The second one was having an evolving culture. As we grow and we start expanding to different cultures and different markets, we have expanded our thought process and the way that we connect with consumers and with our stakeholders. And the third component is having top talent. We always say that to have the best team, you need to want to win the Champions League. So when you have a big dream, you start surrounding yourself with amazing talent. So for the future, Kaio, we say that we are in halftime because we think that we are finalizing the first half of the journey of the group, 130 years. And we look at the future and at the group at an inflection point. If you think about it, the world is at an inflection point. And the last few minutes of the first half were very challenging for all of us, with the pandemic, with financial relapses all over the world. But also, we feel that there's a unique opportunity for Latin America and for the world with all the technological advancements, the human evolution. So we have a very strong purpose at Grupo Mariposa with one word, that it's unleash. Latin America has so much potential, and we have the ability to unleash that potential. There's a new generation of business leaders that we want to be part of the solution, and that we want to use, all the capabilities and knowledge to generate prosperity. So that's why our purpose at Grupo Mariposa is to unleash value, to catalyze inclusive growth and prosperity. Today, we reach 2 million tiendas de barrio, SMEs. They are a very important enabler of the communities to generate progress and prosperity. And we can help these SMEs to digitalize and to bring prosperity in the regions. We also have a very big, Luis Miguel is going to talk a little bit about it, but a very big opportunity to bringing Latin America to the world. We have amazing ingredients, amazing culture here in the US, but in the world, we have a huge opportunity. So we're very bullish, very positive, and we really want to grow, but generating prosperity.
I have two things from there. It's really interesting. First, Luis Miguel, you've been doing that for so long, and you are, a great catalyst of the success of Grupo Mariposa. And there is this perception that Latin American companies, they cannot be global, that they are, all the banks, the main retailers, they come to Latin America, they conquer. And I bet 50 years ago, for a Guatemalan company or a Central America company to go to a private equity or a venture capital to raise cash, it would be, the doors would be closed, right? But you proved them wrong. And you built a business that it is in 20 markets, including the US. How was that journey for you?
Yeah, and this is something very interesting because when we decided to go to expand in Central America, we needed capital. We brought our own capital, but we needed finance. So I remember in Honduras, when we went there, we rebuilt the factory that we acquired. So the banks were lending us money at 24% interest rate, right? So
per year or per month? Because it depends on where you are, right? Is this Argentina?
So I remember doing the financial exercise. So, okay, sales doing very well, gross margin doing very well, eventually good profit, but then at the end, the banks were getting everything. So we were actually working for the banks, and eventually I remember one day coming back from Honduras celebrating that I was able to lower the rate to, I think, 16%.
Which was probably a couple billion dollars, right?
That was a good thing. But then when we started to grow more, then the problem was that the banks couldn't lend us more money because of regulations. So I said, okay, I pay these guys a lot of money, and then when I need them, I cannot have them. So I said, I need to do something. So we need to disintervene these guys. So what we did is say, okay, let's go to the international market, let's raise money. And I remember the company was not like it is today. We were not as ready. So I remember that process with credit rating agencies, right? Moody's. It was complicated, right? So then we decided to raise $100 million in a 144 bond, and we launched the offer. So I remember I think the appetite was 110, and the rate instead of being 7.5 as we thought was 9.
Well,
So
always-
that was the one when you say, no, you know what, I'm better off with the banks there, but we say, no, you know what, we're going to raise 50, and we're going to pay the 9%. And we're going to do this because we want to build a track record, right? And this was 20 years ago. After that, we did other issues, and last year we did a very successful ESG green bond that actually we raised $1 billion, and I think the book went to $7 billion. So we were able to create the appetite, and we were able to push down the rates where we wanted. So actually, I think now we raise money cheaper than the banks locally.
Don't tell them, they're not here. But going to that the journey, and you guys are raising cash, and always, you're very young entrepreneurs, right? And you still have a long way to go. And you mentioned that the opportunity in the Americas and the U.S. market. And the U.S. Latino GDP would be the 5th largest economy globally. It's bigger than the UK, than India, $3.2 trillion. What is next for you there in the U.S. Hispanic? So now you want to conquer America, is that right?
Yeah, I think.
How does that work?
Listen, through the food business, we started saying, okay, we're going to do these 2 categories, coffee and culinary, and we're going to follow the footprint of CBC because those are the markets that we know, we have the distribution. But eventually, there was a very nice Mexican company available for sale, so we liked the company, we bought the company, but then we saw that the company had a big potential in the US. So the sales to the US were 15% of the company's sales, now it's almost half of the sales.
Wow.
And then what it brought us to the US. And then we started to understand about the Hispanic market. So Hispanic market, as you say, is the largest economy in Latin America, 5th economy in the world. So we said, rather than go to Brazil, let's do the Hispanics in the US. But the opportunity is not only the Hispanics in the US, it's bringing Latin America to the world, actually. Right. But has been great. We bought another company in the US serving the Hispanic market, and that I think is going to be the focus for the next 5 years of the company, really making a push in this country that is very big, and you have to eat it by pieces. And
I bet the demand is here, right? 1/3 of Gen Z's people consuming are Latinos, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like a long journey. You mentioned that the next 5 years will focus in the US Hispanic market while doing what you're doing well in Latin America and taking Latin America to the world. What is next for Grupo Mariposa other than that in Latin America? How do you see the region for you expanding further?
So as Luis Miguel mentioned, we're extremely excited growing in Mexico, in the US, but we are also, when we look at the future, we have 2 dimensions of how do we want to grow. One, it's around the consumer.
Right.
And we're working very hard with innovation to develop affordable wellness for the base of the pyramid and really transforming our portfolio to truly be part of the solution. The other axis is with the clients. As I mentioned with the tiendas, we believe that we can be an important player in the disruption that is happening in the traditional trade. So we're spending a lot of resources in digital transformation so that we can be positioned as the leader in all of this transformation. And there's incredible opportunities because these tiendas, there's a lot of potential around credit, around becoming, integrated hubs and develop the region. But we're also working, and I'm very excited because as a company, having the purpose of really catalyzing and unleashing growth and prosperity, we're spending a lot of time thinking about how can we, as a group, help to shape the social fabric of Latin America. So we're spending a lot of time understanding poverty because we're so close to the communities. Yep. And for a formal sector, a frontline employee, or for an owner of a tienda, it's very challenging to be formal. There's a lot of challenges around access to health, access to education. And us as company, we have the muscle to measure the multidimensional poverty and to work together. So we're working with Oxford and we're creating a concept called prosperity as a service, where we want as a private sector to measure the multidimensional poverty in the value chain and work together to eradicate multidimensional poverty and to strengthen the value proposition of the formal sector in Latin America. And the other thing that we're working very hard and it's exciting for us, it's around ESG.
Right.
With technology, there are financial viable ways to really transform our footprint around not only products, but around water, energy. So we see growth in Latin America, but also in the Americas. I really like the concept of the conference that we, as Latin America, have a unique opportunity to feed and fuel the world. So,
great. And you've been doing amazing, and it looks like you're just starting, right? And with this new energy and doing more and doing differently and helping communities, doing well and doing good at the same time. Was there any particular case that was a company that you guys acquired, Grupo Mariposa acquired, that transformed that family-owned business into a large enterprise that is prominent these days?
Yeah, I think that's what we do actually. When I told you that 20 years ago, we decided to become a world-class operation, we really made a lot of effort into having something we call the Apex management system, right? And that's everything you need to transform a company. So when we did the VIA project, that's the food business, we acquired 15 companies in a period of 4 years.
Wow.
And we were looking for the number 1 or number 2 company in the markets we decided. So when you go to a coffee company, the number 1 or number 2 is traditionally a family business, second, third generation, no debt, good dividends, no reason to sell, right? So our number 1 seller was the Apex management system, something that we can put together in 2 years, and after 2 years you have a family business that was managed not that professional into a world-class operation, ESG, everything, technology in 2 years. Something that for a family and that for us took us 20 years and $100 million in consultants.
So basically you put the private equity world into the tiendas in Latin America. I mean, amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. We are out of time, but I appreciate you. I think you guys are doing amazing, and thank you. I hope you can continue doing outstanding in Latin America. Thanks for your contribution.